How are we all doing today? I have got an Technics SL-BD2 in from a customer complaining of originally poor sound quality, and then when she put it away it didn't work again after. She supplied me with the RCA leads that she'd been using, so we're just going to chuck these away and get us some better ones because they are something out of the arc. So as you can see, turn it on, it's got power, but we have no movement. I can actually hear the unit working away. All the tone arm mechanisms working as it should. Clicks on and off as well as it should. So all buttons and everything seem to be absolutely fine. It just doesn't want to move. So we take the mat off, and straight away it is an actual official Technics mat, which is nice. But you can see straight away something that looks like spaghetti down there. This isn't a direct drive, this is a belt driven turntable. Obviously everything by Technics is really high quality, but time takes its toll, and that is just disgusting. So if we take the platter off, you can see the remains of the belt. So that's probably the original belt from 1984 is when I think this was actually produced, around there. So now if we have a closer look, you can see the motor spindle and where the belt would have been. So we're just going to double checking that the motor is actually turning, which it is, and then we'll move on to giving it a good clean. There is a few other complaints with this turntable. One of the feet just falls off. I've had a quick look at that already, but I'll show you that in a minute. So if we get this all cleaned up, because this stuff is horrible, the rubber it's just disgusting, and it does stick to literally everything. What I'm using is a cleaner of my own concoction. This isn't the worst that I've done. The belt is still sticky and pretty disgusting, but it isn't the worst that I've had to contend with in the past. But the turntable is just dirty from years of storage. I think it had been sitting from its last use about 8 years, and previous to that it was only used for a couple of years, and then again it was in storage again. So we're just going to give it a good clean, just a general service. The actual mechanism for the tone arm looks in good condition and is moving, or was moving, as it should be, or look to be, but we'll check that again in a minute. It does need a new stylus as well. That's pretty gone, but we're mainly concentrating on actually getting this unit moving and getting some audio out of it, even if it's of a low quality, at least it gives us somewhere to start. So we're just going to give the platter a quick once over, make sure there's no residue of that belt left. So now this is the new belt. I've got a company that supplied them to me at a very good rate, and they're fantastic quality. Maybe not as good as an original Technics one, but pretty good. It looks, as you can see, it's a massive difference in colour and texture. Actually, I don't think the complete belt was actually on here, but so to put the belt on is pretty straightforward on these. You just get the belt round, which is easier said than done when you're trying to hold the platter, but you put it round the platter to begin with, the guide wheel, or the guide on the base of the platter. Make sure it's sat nice and straight, no twists, no kinks. Then you place and align the platter back on, and what you can use, or what I'm going to use here, this is a plastic pry tool, and it's better to use something plastic than anything metal, just in case you nick the belt. and you can just, I'm making this look a lot more difficult than it actually is. You can literally just slide the pry tool under the belt and then over the motor spindle, and again just making sure that there's no kinks and that's perfectly flat. You can test that with your finger and you'll be able to tell straight away that it's seated properly or not. And then just power it up and away she goes. I've never had one of these turntables, belt driven or direct drive from Technics, the motor's ever failed. It's always a belt or a corrosion, but the motors are literally indestructible. So for obvious reasons I can't actually put the sound across when we get this on, but at the moment I'm just going to check. I'm just checking the actual mechanism is working properly for the stylus and the tone arm even. Yeah, I did notice it really wants to jump back to resting or stopped. So I'm just trying a couple of different positions on this record. This isn't a quality piece of vinyl, this is literally a testing piece of vinyl. It is really quite badly scratched, so again audio is not going to be fantastic on here either, but the cueing on the tone arm works absolutely perfectly. Lovely smooth action. Just testing to see here where it actually wants to jump back to rest, but I actually think it was just on my part. So we're going to move on to this quick little fix on the foot. It's quite common on these, is actually a bit that the spring screws around, which on this one is totally snapped off, where you would thread it round. So I'm just going to use a bit of epoxy glue and just glue the spring in. You would still be able to take the spring off, the foot off, but obviously the spring would stay in place. Unfortunately, you don't have much of an option here. This is pretty much going to be your go-to when it comes to fixing these feet, unless you replace the actual base of the turntable, which is, if you can find one, going to be very expensive. At that point, you're pretty much looking to replace the turntable if you were that worried about it. You'll still be able to get a bit of adjustment on the other feet to make it all square and true. I've got a couple of these turntables in my collection, and feet from people storing them incorrectly in lofts and cupboards. Feet is a really common thing, and seeing as vinyl is coming in more and more, I'm getting more and more of these turntables to repair. The feet being snapped off and tone arms being snapped off is so common because people just do not store this kind of equipment correctly. And obviously belts is just something that happens over time. You can't really do anything about that. But this is a good fix. Quick, easy, cheap. And it's as simple as that. Easy fix, which is what we like. I'll just flip the turntable back over using the painted cushion method. Helps you protect everything, stops the platter falling back off after you've just put that belt on. Keeps the toe and arm. So now I'm just going to get one final clean with this mix, because this is dirty. And here we go, testing it on this is my test amp. Just checking the sound quality. The whole mechanism works as it should. A little bit delayed. My personal Technics isn't that slow on returning, but it is on this one. I actually don't know. I don't know if it's a control board issue, but it works. And it queues up perfectly. Just checking for bad earths. It does have a bad earth, so we're going to be pulling this apart again in the future. I don't know if I'll do a video on it, but... And here you go, I'll leave you with some pictures, with some pictured vinyl on it, looking really smart. And that is it. If you're interested in me doing more videos like this, then I think I might get turntables in all the time. Anyway, enjoy and keep it old school.